I'm delighted to host a Red Cloud webinar on lithium today. You will hear from Ultra Lithium Management, Kiki Smith, CFO, and during today's webinar, she will provide an overview and outlook, and then we will take some questions. You can type your questions into the chat box at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can. But before we kick things off, first we need to discuss the fine print. During this Ultra Lithium webinar, forward-looking statements may be made. I would direct listeners to the forward-looking statements outlined on page 2 of Ultra's corporate presentation. They can be found on the company's website, ultralithium.com. For Red Cloud Securities, I'd highlight this webinar is for information purposes only. It should not be considered a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not consider the particular situation or needs of investors, and participants should rely on their own investigation and seek their own professional advice before investing. Please see our most recent research located on the Red Cloud website for specific disclosures on Ultra Lithium. Now, one of the themes of this podcast is the ongoing EV revolution that is underway. EVs are being built or planned by most OEMs in the automotive sector. And this is one of the emerging technologies or one part environmental stewardship. And at least 17 countries are looking to ban internal combustion engines, representing about 13% of world car sales, new car sales. And that includes Canada, several US states such as California, several countries in Europe such as the UK and Germany, and others. Now, while China doesn't have a formal banishment date outside of Henan province, the country is well advanced down the EV path. However, some of these countries banning ICE vehicles are also some of the key countries that build cars, Germany, US, Canada. So we ultimately believe that as EV penetration increases, manufacturing costs should decline. Build it and they will come. And this means lithium-ion batteries. Benchmark Mineral Intelligence suggests there was over $150 billion worth of investment last year in battery gigafactories, or double that from January 2020 levels. So this is driving high compounded annual growth rates for key battery raw materials. Benchmark puts these compounded annual growth rates at through 2030 at 18% for lithium, 17% for natural flake graphite, 11% for cobalt, and 5% for nickel. As we've previously said, that raw material costs may impact future demand, so action really needs to be taken now to develop projects so we don't have any of these supply gaps in the midterm supply. And one miner potentially to fill this supply gap, Ultra Lithium. Now, with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Kiki to update the audience on the company. So take it away, Kiki.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our presentation. I'll just quickly go through our forward-looking statement screen here and bring you to the first intro on Ultra. So Ultra Lithium has been in the lithium space since approximately 2009. And we feel that we have developed a strong track record of project acquisition and exploration, and have been able to generate shareholder value and progress our projects. And we're now at the point where we're going to be doing some significant drilling with the purpose of delineating a resource, and also progressing forward to test mining, bulk sampling, and brine processing. And as we move forward, we'll be reducing the risk of investment and also expanding our resource. Our team, we feel we have an excellent team in this space. Dr. Wego Lang, our CEO, has been instrumental in the success of the company. He has over 25 years of experience in mining technology and agriculture and in the public markets. And he has a degree in engineering from China and a master's and doctorates from Canada. He is a Canadian citizen. He's currently living in Beijing and has been able to really bridge the market between Canada and China and bring some significant Chinese investment to the company. Andrew Lee Smith, our executive director, has over 30 years of experience in mining and in bringing companies all the way from initial greenfield exploration through to developing and operating a mine, and he's currently operating a couple of mines in Africa through one of his other companies. Afzal Perzada, our VP Exploration, has over 30 years experience in exploration as well. And he was one of the individuals that was instrumental in helping RockTech, our neighbor, develop their original Georgia Lake property portfolio. And so we're very happy that he is with us. And myself, I've got over 20 years of experience in the public space, working as an accounting controller, CFO, and helping companies both with regulatory compliance and financing. Our projects. So our key projects are Georgia Lake and Forgan Lake. They're hard rock lithium projects in Northern Ontario, Canada, near Thunder Bay, spodumene based. We also have 3 brine licenses in Laguna Verde in Catamarca province in Argentina. And this is a new high-grade brine lithium discovery. We also have 50 claims staked in the Big Smoky Valley, which is just 16 kilometers north, one valley north of the Silver Peak mine. And we also have 16 exploration licenses in La Rioja province in a gold area. We feel our timing is right. We won't spend too much time here. I'm sure all of the people on this call are well versed in the status of the lithium space. Needless to say, we reached significant record highs in the first quarter of 2022. Market has come off a little bit since then, but the long-term prospect is there's going to be continued very strong demand for lithium products, and the supply-demand spread is still significant. And this is our corporate structure. We currently have 162 million shares outstanding with 6.4 million options and 27 million warrants. Fully diluted, we would be at 196 million shares. Currently, we've been trading in the 22 to 23 cent range, and we are looking for some good results in the market over the next few months. Our key shareholders. Our CEO, Wei-Go Lang, owns about 7% of the outstanding shares of the company. Our chairman, Mr. Xiaogu Cao, owns 29 million shares for 18%. Zhanghe Group, which is a lithium company out of China, recently participated in our most recent private placement. They currently own 23 million shares for 14% of the company. The Zhang Group participated about a year ago. They have 21.8 million shares for 13%. THPJX participated in our placement. They're out of Singapore in December 2021 for 8%. And Beijing Explorers owns 8.4% of our shares for about, 8.4 million shares for about 5%. So altogether, that's about 65% of the issued and outstanding shares. We do have a strong and diversified Chinese investment in the company. These entities on this list are independent of each other. And that shows a level of a strong vote of confidence in the company and what it's been doing so far. And one of our other objectives is definitely to increase our exposure in North America and bring on more North American participation as well with the company. This is just a quick snapshot of some of our peers in the market as of this month. We're currently trading at around 22, 23 cents for a market cap of about $36 million. Some of the others that I'd like to point out to you is just RockTech at the bottom of this list. They're our neighbor, and they're further along on the production line, getting ready to actually do some producing and processing. And that just gives us a sense of where we might be able to go in the next 2-3 years. So now I'll take a couple minutes and just review our properties. So Georgia Lake, this is 100% ownership of 88 mining claims in a Thunder Bay mining division in northwestern Ontario. This is a very stable and favorable mining jurisdiction. We have supportive First Nations, which we have excellent communications with. There's an excellent infrastructure in the area. We're near a highway, a deep port. There's electrical power readily available. And we have mining personnel available easily to work on these properties. And there was historical work done in this area in the 1950s, which we have some drilling and sampling information from. And our claims are the orange ones on this map. So a little bit more detail on the geology. Majority of the pegmatites are hosted by Archean metasediments near large masses of granite. Spodumene is the main lithium-bearing mineral. And there are some other rare metals, including nemedium, tantalum, rubidium, beryllium, and cesium. Feldspar, quartz, and mica are the other major minerals in the area. And there are 8 lithium pegmatites in these claim blocks. And the Forgan Lake claim block has an additional 6 pegmatites. So we did complete some exploration work in the area. In the picture on your right, that's Afzal Prasad, our VP Exploration, and Andrew Lee Smith, our Executive Director there. In 2016, we did some prospecting and grab sampling, and the results showed that out of a total of 21 samples, 10 samples were over 1% lithium oxide and 5 were over 2%. So, and the maximum value was 2.73% lithium oxide. And we also had some anomalous values of other rare metals such as tantalum, rubidium, beryllium, and rubidium. And again, spodumene is the lithium-bearing mineral in these pegmatites. In October, November 2016, we did some stripping, trenching, and channel sampling. And the work indicated over 1% lithium from 1 to 3 meter width. And we had some other rare metal values, as I previously said. In April and May 2017, we drilled 4 short holes just to 8 meters deep at the various pegmatites. And the holes indicated 0.76 to 1.42% lithium oxide over widths of 1 to 5 meters. So the property has the potential to produce small to medium scale lithium oxide. We're thinking in the range of 20,000 tons per year. We are currently communicating and negotiating with the local First Nations community. This is a picture from a few years ago with the local First Nations. And we have an excellent relationship with them. So at the moment, we're actually in the process of hiring a driller, and we anticipate that we will be beginning drilling at Georgia Lake by the middle of June. Forgan Lake pegmatites. So in September 2018, we acquired Forgan Lake from International Lithium, and it's comprised of 18 cell claims and 2 boundary claims with a total of area of 256 hectares. Historical drilling in that area of over 33,000 meters and 39 holes in the late 50s discovered 6 lithium pegmatites. And we took some channel samples and we found 2.5% average lithium oxide over a width of 21 feet, and 2 samples from 80 feet. Southwest of the first 3 averaged 4.23% lithium oxide over 24 feet, and an additional 2 from 225 feet further southwest, 1.98%. So this is a higher grade lithium oxide area. I'll just go back to Forgan Lake. And we recently we had entered into an option agreement with International Lithium to acquire these properties. And we recently acquired the properties outright in just April of this year. So they're 100% owned by our group now. So in April, we also entered into a joint venture agreement with Yahua. They're a lithium production company out of China. They're a public company, and they've had a lot of business with Australian companies. They're also a supplier to companies that we know, such as Tesla. And we've entered into a joint venture with them. So we've placed the Georgia Lake and Forgan Lake properties into a joint venture entity, North Canada Lithium Corp. And Yahoo has paid Ultra Lithium $5 million for the for a 60% interest in the joint venture corp, and Ultra will be retaining a carried interest of 40% in the joint venture. Yahoo will also be providing an additional $3 million towards exploration expenditures. So we will be having a robust exploration program. We raised $1 million in flow through last December, which we will be spending on these properties. And in addition to that, we'll have the additional $3 million from Yahoo and potentially some additional flow through in the next month or so through our most recently announced placement. Argentina. So we have 3 lithium licenses called in Laguna Verde that covers the full area of the Salar Laguna Verde. And it's a standalone salar. It covers 7,569 hectares in Catamarca province, and is located in the Lithium Triangle. So we completed 2 rounds of brine lithium sampling in 2017, and we realized that this was a high-grade brine lithium discovery with ranges of 14 ppm to 1270 ppm. Potassium values were 262 ppm, and very encouragingly, magnesium values were, and the magnesium ratio was relatively low at less than 1 to 13, which will be very beneficial as we move forward towards production with this. We received permits in 2018 for ground geophysical surveys, and we also completed some bench evaporation work. And here's the geophysical survey information. And in 2018, we engaged BETEC to do the TDEM survey, and they ran a total of 39.2 line kilometers of geophysical survey. And the results indicated a potential salar area of 23 kilometers with square kilometers with a core zone of 3.4 square kilometers. And you can see that it goes all the way down to about 225 meters. In 2018, we also did some bench evaporation work. We took 4 cubic meters of brine samples from Laguna Verde, and we shipped it to our lab in Salta. And the samples were tested to evaluate the process and to help design the evaporation process. So we did just straight natural evaporation, and the results indicated lithium values increased from 391 ppm to 7,300 ppm with a recovery of 57%. And in January 2022, we've now moved forward and have begun drilling at Laguna Verde. We did put a news release just yesterday with some of the geophysic results from this drill hole. And we will be preparing and sending samples for assay by mid-June also in relation to these drill holes. So the first drill hole has been drilled, and there's a second hole in process right now. And we do plan to go down to a depth of 400 meters below surface. So upcoming catalysts. Key for this summer is we're planning to do 2,000 meters of drilling at Forgan Lake and Georgia Lake. Again, we anticipate that the drills will begin turning mid-June in the area. We'll also be doing metallurgical testing and devising a plan towards resource estimation going forward. Laguna Verde, we've already begun our drill program, and we anticipate that we'll have 1,200 meters drilled by the end of summer 2022. Our Big Smoky plans, we will be doing some additional geophysical interpretation at Big Smoky to establish some future drill targets. We also have our gold projects in our back pocket that we're actively looking to joint venture, and we'll eventually be doing some surveys, mapping, and sampling there as well. Basic information about Ultra. And that is it for my presentation. So David, if you have any question for us, feel free to take it from here.
Great. Thank you very much, Kiki. Much appreciated for the very informative presentation. So we're now going to kick off the Q&A portion of the webinar. Remind everybody online you can type your questions into the chat box, and we'll get to as many as we can. So, Kiki, why don't I kick it off here? You know, you have several different types of lithium deposits, and you also have gold projects in various jurisdictions. So, how do you determine priorities within your pipeline when considering budgets and what to look after?
I would say that both our Georgia Lake, Forgan Lake, and our Argentina properties are our joint priorities at this time. And we are doing concurrent drilling and exploration programs with those. The gold projects are a later priority, and Big Smoky Valley we will be looking at a little bit more this year and determining a plan for that one as well. But as of this summer, definitely Georgia Lake, Forgan Lake, and Laguna Verde are joint priorities, and we're moving forward with both of them.
Right. Okay. And you're talking about your key shareholders. Looks like you've got about 65% of the company locked up there. Is there any desire to try to broaden your shareholder base? And has that really been a limitation to liquidity for your stock?
So we definitely have a desire to broaden our shareholder base, and we have been working with Red Cloud, working on doing some additional placements and making some flow-through financing available to Canadian investors. And we will continue to move forward in that area and help bring North American investors more to make them more aware of the company and the potential that we have here. And yes, we're also moving towards increasing the liquidity in the company. And over the last year, I think we've taken some good steps in that direction. Our liquidity has certainly improved, and our daily trading has certainly improved over the last 12 months. And we see that continuing to improve over the next year.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. You mentioned you're looking for good results in the stock market over the next few months. Is that expectation directly based to the four catalysts you mentioned on the summary slide here?
I would say yes. We're enthusiastic about our drilling program, and we feel that there's good potential that we'll have some good results from the drilling program as the assays come through.
Great. Okay. Now, maybe let's talk a little bit about the projects here. Can you elaborate first on your hard rock properties in Canada? And I guess maybe the strategy behind joint venturing the Canadian hard rock projects with Yahua. You're going to retain 40%, they take 60%, and who's going to be funding the pending exploration?
So we raised $1 million worth of flow through last fall, so that will be used on exploring Georgia Lake and Forgan Lake. Yahua will also be contributing $3 million towards exploration, some of it this year, but potentially some of it next year. And as we move forward through drilling and we get closer to defining a resource, Yahua is also committed and has the resources to potentially bring the project all the way through to mining, processing. So we think that it's a really excellent strategic partnership to have Yahoo on board. They are already an established lithium producer and supplier in the market, and they have the resources to take a project all the way through to building out a mine.
All right. Okay. And is there any connection between Yahoo and the other Chinese investors you referenced previously?
No, they're all independent of each other. They're, for example, Zanga, which recently participated in our private placement, they're a separate public company. They have different interests. Yahoo is more interested in and has expertise in pegmatite, hard rock-based lithium. Zanga has some experience in the brine-based lithium. And so they have somewhat different interests, and they're completely independent, separate public companies.
Right. Okay. Thank you. The grades at Georgia Lake look pretty good. Will your upcoming drill program culminate in a resource estimate later this year?
So I can't tell you 100% that it will do that, but we are planning to do sufficient drilling that we should be able to delineate a resource.
Okay, and then moving on to Forgan Lake, how does potential here compare to Georgia Lake, and have you secured your drill permits for that project? And what's sort of the budget breakdown between the two of them?
We anticipate that for Forgan Lake, we will be spending an additional $1 million, and we at the least. And we're in the process of getting the drill programs there as well. And recently had a meeting with the First Nations with the purpose of developing the plan for moving the exploration forward program and getting the drilling going. So we're actually very excited to be doing that as well.
Okay, so are your permits predicated on these communication with the First Nations first?
And we've basically completed the communication process. So the permits will be, we've applied for the permits, so it's now just a matter of processing.
Okay, great, thank you. At these hard rock projects, is your goal ultimately to create a spodumene concentrate that you'd sell, or do you plan to ultimately try to create a lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide product?
We don't have a definitive answer at this moment. Having partnerships with Yahua, we will certainly have the skill set and the technological ability to process a more refined product such as a lithium carbonate or hydroxide, and some of this will be dependent on the resource and future economic analysis. However, our goal is to potentially be able to take it all the way to being able to produce more value-added product.
Right. Okay. And then I guess before we get on, another question is just when do you expect your Forgan Lake permits?
We are planning to do drilling this year for Forgan Lake, so we should have those shortly.
Okay, great. So let's move on to Laguna Verde. What actually got Ultra Lithium interested in brine projects in the Lithium Triangle? And was this the first project you got, or did you have this prior to the Canadian hard rocks?
We actually had the Georgia Lake Forgan Lake property first, and then we also had Big Smoky Valley in the U.S. and we understood back in 2015-16 that really it was important for us to also investigate the potential in the lithium triangle because of the known quantities there, that there really is potential to find some good discoveries. So back in 2015, we began investigating Argentina and looking for properties of merit that we could potentially have a significant lithium brine discovery. And we also, as a company, really wanted to have more than one type of lithium project. The markets, fluctuate. There's different types of buyers. Certain buyers have, a bigger interest in lithium that comes from pegmatites. Others need the lithium product that comes from a brine type of property. And also there's different, costs and challenges and risks with each type of exploration project and mining project. And so the diversification was an important quality for us, that we would have both types. So we very intentionally made sure that we had both pegmatite-based and brine-based properties.
Right. Okay. Could you perhaps give us an update on the brine project? You mentioned you're drilling right now. How many holes are planned, and how quickly might you get back the assays? And would you be resource ready by the end of this year?
So we, as I said previously, we've drilled the first hole. We're now in the process of doing the second hole. We have several more holes planned. We intend for the assays to be delivered for assessment by mid-June. The exact timing of when we will get the results is somewhat dependent on the lab, and we do plan to continue to drill and get closer to a resource estimate this year. This is a big year for us in terms of the amount of drilling that we will be doing.
Yeah, and the geophysics results, like you announced yesterday, are really important in helping define that resource.
And they're very encouraging, yeah.
The size of the salar, etc. Okay, good. Can you elaborate a little bit on your agreement with the Chinese firm, the lithium processing company in Argentina?
So with Zange, they participate in our private placement, and we also have a letter of intent to try to move forward to develop the Laguna Verde project. We're in the process of discussing how exactly we will do that and negotiating a more definitive agreement. And we look forward to completing that sometime in the relatively near future. And we'll have more information on that as the negotiations progress.
Yeah, have they expressed any interest in your Big Smoky project at all?
Not at this time. We're really focused on Argentina with them.
Okay. And is that a DLE technology they're looking at?
Yes. So Zanga does have a DLE technology that they currently have implemented. They have a salar that they own in China that actually has, it's a North American company would consider that type of salar to be uneconomic. Its lithium ratio is concentration is actually quite low, and its lithium to magnesium ratio is 10 times higher than our Laguna Verde project. And so when we began conversations with them, they were just very excited about our project, because they've already have experience through DLE making even lower grade, higher magnesium lithium ratio property economic, and they've been producing lithium from there. And I believe they are doing 10,000 tons a year. And so they think that this could be a very successful project, giving the preliminary indicators at Laguna Verde.
Great. Yeah, I do believe that more DLE R&D will help get around those magnesium ratios. Technology's come a long way in the last 10 or 15 years here. So, is the deal with Zange similar to the Yahua deal, or are you looking at toll milling agreement for Laguna Verde?
So we are looking to do a joint venture with Zanga. The exact particulars, again, are under negotiation at the moment. So once they're finalized, we'll be able to give a more specific outline of the exact structure of the deal. But the goal is to do a joint venture, yeah, and to continue to move forward together.
Great. Okay. Just a couple more questions here. One about Big Smoky Valley in Nevada. Is that a brine or a clay hosted lithium project? And what are your plans there for this year?
So for this year, it's a clay project. And for this year, our basic plan is to reinterpret the geophysical surveys that we had previously done and start to establish some drill targets for that property as well.
Great. And then on the gold side, are there any plans to divest any of the gold projects, or perhaps spin them out to shareholders, or put in another company?
So we, at the moment, we're currently looking for joint venture partners for the gold projects. We're not at the point yet where we would do a spin out. That is definitely a possibility, and it's certainly on the table at the right time once we have the right partner and we have a more specific plan in place for the gold projects. The gold projects are in a historical gold mining area, so there's many previous gold mines and workings there. And the La Rioja province government actually asked us to take these properties on because they saw that we have a commitment to actually move projects forward. And so that's how they came to us. And there is some really good gold potential there.
Perfect. Okay, well, why don't we wrap it up there, Kiki? Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much, David, and thank you to everyone that was listening in.